In this video, I want to look at some more of the most forgotten LEGO Star Wars sets ever made. Jumping right to it, in 2015, LEGO released the Hellfire droid, and this was the latest version of the set, following after the 2003 version and the 2008 version of the Hellfire droid. This 2015 version was a really good set though, and quite a standout set of the year looking back, with a neat little build and 3 good minifigures, all for a $20 retail price. The 2015 wave of LEGO Star Wars sets is often remembered for the few Star Wars Rebels based sets released this year, as well as the majority of Force Awakens sets that came out with the release of the brand new movie. Many of the other sets releasing in 2015, including the Hailfire droid, are quite overshadowed and overlooked, and today they are often forgotten about by the majority of LEGO Star Wars fans. From the Force Awakens wave of sets, we have some uninteresting and forgotten sets as well, such as the Jakku Quad Jumper. This was a really strange set released in 2017, 2 years after the release of this brand new movie, and instantly there was almost nothing really attractive about this set. The build was definitely interesting, depicting this overall uninteresting or unknown ship from this movie, and we got a handful of minifigures, which was nice, but nothing too spectacular, with no exclusive or unique minifigures for this set. The set wasn't all bad though, and could definitely be used in different ways as a background vehicle for a large-scale Jakku or Sandy Wasteland type of mock, but other than that, definitely not the greatest display or playset really, and worth forgetting about today. Also from the sequel era of Star Wars, we saw 2 sets based around Star Wars Resistance, a new animated show released at the time to take the place of Star Wars Rebels. One of these sets, the Black Ace TIE Interceptor, is incredibly forgotten about today, and once again for good reason as well. Resistance wasn't the best piece of Star Wars media, and as a whole it is quite disregarded and forgotten about today as well. Despite this, Major Vondrek's TIE Fighter was a decently successful set, quite overlooked as well, but definitely better received than its counterpart, the Black Ace Interceptor. The set isn't all bad though. The build is decent and definitely quite interesting compared to what we usually see, and the minifigure selection was okay as well. Griff Halloran was the exclusive character for this set, and he has a brand new TIE Fighter pilot helmet print that looks really cool. And personally, this is my favorite thing out of this entire set, which says a lot to be honest. 2012 had some of the best LEGO Star Wars sets ever made, and it is an incredibly memorable year for the most part. However, some of these sets, such as the Endor Rebel and Imperial Trooper Battle Pack, are quite forgotten about today. Despite being over a decade old, this set holds up as a really good battle pack, and also one of the first sets I ever owned. It was a really good way to get some Rebel and Imperial Troopers for a really good price, as well as a speeder bike, which was definitely the standout build of this set. Endor Troopers do not get that much action in LEGO anymore, and generally are quite overlooked as well. And getting a battle pack very similar to this one today would be really good to see, and I think LEGO should definitely do it. A year later, we got to see yet again many iconic and beloved LEGO Star Wars sets, making one of the best years for this LEGO theme ever. But once again, some sets go quite forgotten in 2013. The Battle of Hoth was an overall decent and well-rounded set, retailing at $50, including several small builds, speeders and turrets, and the main Rebel Snowspeeder build. We saw 6 minifigures in this set, one of them being an improved look for Rebel pilot minifigures in the form of Luke Skywalker. And it was overall just a great depiction of the Battle of Hoth with these minifigures and builds. However, in following years we have seen many similar sets of different sizes, And the Battle of Hoth was really a focal point in LEGO Star Wars sets of this era. And through all that, this 2013 set is quite overshadowed and forgotten about. Truthfully, in researching this video, this was the first time I actually had a proper look at this set. And as a massive LEGO Star Wars fan since 2011, I don't overlook sets that much, so it must be saying something. Real quick though, if you enjoy any of these kinds of videos, consider subscribing, as it supports this channel so much. The T-16 Skyhopper is one of the first vehicles appearing in A New Hope in a very subtle way. And despite this, it has only been depicted 2 times in LEGO Star Wars before. The most recent set, the 2015 version of the T-16 Skyhopper, is a set that is barely ever talked about today, as this isn't really the most recognizable ship in the Star Wars universe, and the set doesn't offer anything too exciting. The build of the Skyhopper is of course quite good, using some interesting building techniques, and the use of the Jedi Interceptor wing piece is a really cool way to make the cockpit area. And this is one thing I always notice about this set. The minifigures in this one are quite bare though. The Tusken Raider is nothing too interesting and something we see in several other sets. And then the T-16 Skyhopper is also somewhat generic and not that appealing to most. There are some theories around this minifigure though, saying that it could be an off-screen version of Luke Skywalker piloting the Skyhopper, which is mentioned as something he did before the events of A New Hope. And the minifigure's faceprint has some resemblance to the Luke Skywalker minifigure, so that is something interesting and fun about this minifigure you could think about at least. The final set I want to talk about is the Carbon Freezing Chamber, released in 2016. This was quite a random but really cool set released this year, and I like this style of LEGO Star Wars sets quite a lot. It is quite similar to something like Darth Vader's transformation, but I think it is way more overlooked and forgotten about than this transformation set, specifically because we had the Betrayal at Cloud City set releasing a few years after. That has a better depiction of the carbon freezing chamber seen in The Empire Strikes Back. Regardless, this original set of 2016 was a really fun little playset with some good minifigures, specifically the Ugnaught, as this was the first time we have ever seen this species in LEGO form. Overall, this was a really fun little set that I really liked back in the day, and I think it should get a little bit more attention today as well. Now, let me know what you think are the most forgotten LEGO Star Wars sets ever made, and then I will see you in the next one. God bless you, and cheers.